Hello, my name is Daniel. In this video, I will tell you all about the weapon in this project. Let's set up a completely new weapon. I will use a free asset that you can find on the marketplace. You can find the link in the description. The only thing I have changed in this mesh is the clip. I recommend you to remove the clip from your weapon too, as we attach separate clip mesh to the weapon. In the skeleton, we need to set up sockets. First, our socket will be the default clip. Make sure you have the same socket names in the skeleton. They are static for each weapon. Select the mesh of your clip and move it to the right place. Now add a socket called muzzle. Move it to your muzzle. You may need to rotate it to make the flash particle face the right direction. The last socket is shell socket. Place it to the place where you will spawn bullets particle each shot. Now let's add a row with our weapon to the weapon data table. Duplicate the existing row of the same type. I want to create another rifle, so I will duplicate weapon with the type rifle. Bullets per shot is the amount of bullets that you shoot using shotgun or burst fire mode. Max ammo is the maximum amount of ammo you will have in your clip. Fire delay is a delay between shots. Spread of your fire. Fire modes is an array of modes that you can switch for your weapon in the gameplay. I will show you how to add a new fire mode later. Left hand is a socket of your weapon in a player skeletal mesh. The weapon will be connected to this socket after spawn. Grenade socket can be grenade left if you use left hand to throw the grenade, or just the grenade if you use the right hand. Hand clip socket is a socket where you spawn the clip for reload animation. In fire sound structure, you can set different sounds for your weapon. You deal minimum damage if distance between you and the eye is bigger than max range. Max damage you deal if the distance is smaller. Set has laser to true if you want this weapon to have a laser. Ammo type is a type of ammo that you will need to have in your inventory to be able to shoot. Recoil is the value that moves your camera up per shot. Field of view is used to change camera field of view while aiming. Other settings are only camera settings. We will change them a little bit later. Aim blend time is a time to switch between default and aim cameras. Do not spawn empty bullets after shot is used to disable shells particle while shooting, but enable it on reload. Let's set our animations. I have prepared the animations before. You can copy animations from any weapon or just use them. First animations you just need to set. But in animation montages, you need to add notifies. Let's create the reload animation. Create animation montage. We will need to track the place we want to set our notify to. For this, we need to see the weapon in hands. It's time to add sockets we mentioned in weapons data table before to our skeleton. The first socket is weapon socket. We use it to connect our weapon to. Find the hand we want to attach the weapon to and create the socket. Set the same name as the name is in the data table. The same we need to do with the clip socket. Make sure it is the same as in the data table. Let's set our notifies. You just need to do the same steps, they're static. The first one is on clip, when you remove existing clip. Now take AMA. Here you take new clip. At the clip notify, we connect the mesh to the weapon. And is the end of the animation. Now let's set up the holster animation. Put out is a notify to play a sound. holster is to delete our weapon blueprint. Now, let's set up draw animation. Put in as a notify to play a sound. Draw is to spawn our weapon blueprint and connect it. In grenade animation, we use notify events. The first one will disconnect our weapon from hand on start and connect it to our hand again in the end. The start of the second one is the moment when you take a grenade. The end when you disconnect it. The last state is the moment when you throw the grenade. Available modifications is an array of modification types. These are the types we will see in our modification window. We need to use DOF settings to configure Aim Camera DOF. Now let's add a new row to the items data table. Here we can duplicate the row of any rifle we want. In table row, we need to set the data table row of our new weapon. Type of this slot is weapon. Hand socket is the socket we connect our weapon to. Let's create a blueprint we will spawn and connect to our player. Duplicate any connected blueprint. In this blueprint, you need to change the mesh of your weapon and his clip mesh. You can move laser to wherever you want if you need it. Let's set up our aim camera. It is better to do this in the world. Direct connected blueprint to the world, set aim camera at any location you want. Let's set this value to the blueprint itself. You also have a collimator. You can set any mesh or material here, or you can even remove it. Now let's set up DOF settings. Go to the aim camera and change post-process settings. Enable depth of field, focal distance and aperture. After you configure these two values, copy them to the blueprint and weapons data table. Set this blueprint to the items data table. Now, let's create the blueprint we will interact with. Just duplicate the existing one, open it, and set your row from data table. In inventory texture variable, you can set the rarity, size, and image of the inventory slot. You can change the available modifications in the weapons data table, available modifications array. If you want to use existing modification, go to the Modifications tab and add this weapon to the weapon array. You can find an information about new modification or new modification type in the items tutorial. For example, we need muzzle modification available. Let's add our weapon to silencer. Here, we use socket called silencer. We need to add it to our weapon skeleton. You can add a new fire mode to the fire mode's enumeration. This will let you fire a unique event when you shoot. Add your event to the switch function. You can have any logic you want here. I will just use the existing one in this situation. This fire mode you need to add into the weapons data table. You can also create a new weapon type. There are two important functions that you need to change in this situation. Can spawn muzzle if you want to have a particle, and is automate. Change the select function for new type if you need. In the shoot logic, you can use your new weapon type now. For example, if the weapon of a new type will play the explosion sound. We need to set our new type to the weapon data table. You can create different weapon skins for the new weapon. I will prepare materials first. Now you need to add new rows to the custom weapon data table. Duplicate any row. The first row of the new weapon will be the base one. Here you can set the rarity, image, name, description and price of the slot in the menu. Here you need to select the new materials for your weapon that will be set on the begin play if the row is selected in the menu. Default variable will set this row by default. Make sure you have only one row for each weapon type and this value by default. Available by default will let you select this slot, you won't have to buy it. Rarity will affect the line above the widget slot. Create rows for each weapon skin. We use a special scope system that does not affect performance and allows the user to have the best quality. The essence of this system is to use a separate part of a scope mesh. I will show you how to do that in Blender, but you can skip this part using timecode. To do that, export a scope or a sniper mesh and import it into Blender. After that, cut it and import it back into our Unreal Engine. Use the timecode if you need to skip the Blender part. Let's set a new scope model to the sniper blueprint and set it up. The scope system consists of three parts: the frame, the lens, and the crosshair texture. For example, you want to have a scope that is different in size from ours, or you want to change its location. To do this, change the scale or location of the frame component inside the Blueprint Sniper class.